तस्या ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Welcome to another edition of Bitcoin Babaji podcast. I'm so happy to see you again today. Today is the 5th of September 2025, and here you are with your host, Bitcoin Babaji. Welcome to the Bitcoin Babaji show. I'm so happy you could join me here today in this recording. Today it's Q3 2025, the first few days of September, and with Bitcoin Babaji here today, we are going to discuss not only the path of the Babaji, the path of transcendence, but also we are going to discuss the Bitcoin chart, because this is the Bitcoin Babaji podcast, Bitcoin with Babaji. So we discuss with our feet in the rich soil where the gold is mined, our feet on the ground, but our head in the stars, in the heavens. Yes, so we have the balance of the material wealth and the spiritual health. And this is the balance of the Bitcoin Babaji podcast. So today, with Babaji, we can discuss the very exciting Bitcoin chart, because, as you know, this is Q3 2025, the third quarter, where the year after the halving. The last year was the halving, that was 2024. Now we're coming up, it's late 2025. Now we are reaching the peak of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle. So does this cycle still hold, this 4-year cycle, or is it finished? This is the question for today. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We have here Bitcoin chart doing very, very well, as you can see. I don't know if you are able to follow the chart very nicely, but as you can see, I have placed the 1-day chart. This is the 1-day chart for Bitcoin, and you can see on the daily chart today our price has been climbing very, very nicely since the bottom in 2023, after the last bull market cycle, which had its peak in December 2021. We had the strong downturn in the bearish season, which took us down to 2023. Then, when we reached 2023, we had the bottom was in, and we found some support. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we found support. Let's have a look at this a little bit closer. Here you are. Now you can see in the chart that support was found at around the previous all-time high, which was $20,000. 2023 was a real low time. That was a good time to buy back in at $20,000 in the Bitcoin price. Remember, Bitcoin is the people's money. It is the path to material sovereignty, decentralized and sovereign wealth where you become your own banker. Self-custody, very important to keep your own Bitcoin in your own wallet. That's right, you take control and you take the power of your own finances. After all, Babaji is very familiar with Lakshmi Narasimhadev, Lakshmi and Vishnu, and we are on the path of transcendence approaching Vishnu. We also have prayers for the blessings of Lakshmi Devi. So Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, can bring us not only material fortune, but ultimately bring us closer to Vishnu. Vishnu is the husband of Lakshmi. If you worship Vishnu, you get the blessings of Lakshmi automatically. Nevertheless, we look at the chart and we see that as a trader, when we do technical analysis of the Bitcoin chart, one day you find you can look at my chart today, you can see how I have drawn in the moving averages, and price action bottomed out late 22, and then from January 2023, we can see how price started the uptrend from those lows just below $20,000, around $15,000 to $17,000. We have had the gradual uptrend through 2 3/4 years. And that uptrend since the lows of 2023 is a 680% uptrend. It's 6.8x profits that Bitcoin has already climbed since the lows of 2023. And we had the halving in 2024. Was it around April, May? That was the time. So now, at September 2025, we are approaching the all-time high. The next all-time high in the 4-year cycle, the Bitcoin halving cycle, is here, ladies and gentlemen. So with a great pleasure, I wish to present to you some of the TA that I'm doing, because I have discovered recently that by using the moving averages, we can follow the trend and we can find out if Bitcoin is still in an uptrend. Is this bull market still holding? Or is it time to take profit, sell at the top, and then go into stable coins, for example, to cash out? Or is it time to hold and hodl and DCA and accumulate still more? It depends on your time frame, of course. If you are here long term, then you might simply hodl on and accumulate as we go along. However, if you want to maximize on your trading capacity, then you may want to take a few trades throughout the 4-year cycle, buy at the lows and sell at the highs. And that means you only take 2 or 3 trades in a year, or perhaps 4 trades once a year. Some people might even take 1 trade a year, or 1 trade every 4 years, so they buy at the bottom and then sell at the top of that 4-year cycle. So it's up to you. We look at the daily chart today. We can see Bitcoin Babaji Oracle. We shall view the chart. Om Krishna Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhuvaya Namaha. Now, if you look at this chart, you can see my moving averages are there, because technical indicators certainly help us to project into the future based on what we see in the past cycles. Here on my chart, I have the 21-day moving average in red, the 55 moving average, that's the Fibonacci number, in orange. Then we have the 100 daily moving average in turquoise, and the 300 EMA moving average. That's the 300 daily EMA you can see in purple. So those people are used to the 100-day, 200-day, maybe 50-day moving averages. But I did some investigating and I found that price seems to respect the 300-day EMA. Here you can see clearly how once price broke above the 300-day moving average, that purple line, in early 2023, it stayed above the 300-day moving average and has remained there for the past 2.75 years. We had uptrend, and this has been very significant. Each time price has come back down to the 300-day moving average, that average has acted as support. So you can see the purple line is keeping the price up. Price is staying above and respecting the 300-day moving average, very seldom ever moving below it, except perhaps on 3 occasions, just for a matter of hours, perhaps a day at the most, and then quickly bouncing back up above. So certainly the 100-day moving average line has remained above the 300-day line. Price has remained above, and that 300 EMA is on a steep uptrend. And as long as price is above the 300-day moving average, I am convinced that price is still in bullish momentum. So that's Babaji's lesson for the moving averages. We take the 300 EMA, the daily chart. You can see that price is climbing steadily. So in other words, there's still some uptrend ahead. Based on the 4-year cycle, we might say that traditionally price will peak and blow off top will be reached, the all-time high for this cycle, in and about Q3 or Q4, shall we say Q4 2025. After all, in 2021 and back in 2017, the previous 2 all-time highs, they occurred in November, and back in 2017 it was December. And so this time around we are looking for a projected all-time high peak around October. That's in only 30 days, ladies and gentlemen. Price has already made 6.5x, 680%, pretty much, from the lows of December 22. That was the low of the last 4-year cycle. So significant growth has already been there. And so we can keep our eyes on this chart and watch closely, because at this stage I would say the forecast is in, that it's coming up very soon now for that all-time high. Now in the last leg of the uptrend, which you are in now, we have the most powerful explosion in price to the upside. So even though price now hovers at $110,000, still from the previous all-time high of 70 to 110 is not even a double. So price still has some uptrend upside. From 110 we could see 120, ultimately going up to 150. Already we've seen 120 just a few days ago, the new all-time high, $120,000 per Bitcoin. The next phase should take us up to $150,000 per Bitcoin. Some say $200,000. That is unknown at this stage. You can do a Fibonacci fractal measurement That might take you somewhere. Just remember though, that in the 4-year cycle, we are approaching the peak in the next 30 days and thereabouts, 30 or so days. So that's the 4-year cycle for you. Once that is peaked, traditionally, theoretically, based on previous cycles, that means around October, November, the next 30 to 60 days. The peak will be in the all-time high, whether it's $150,000 Bitcoin, $200,000 Bitcoin. After that, there will be the pullback. And this pullback will continue the bear market downtrend for 2026, going into 2027, where we'll see the bottom again for the next turnaround and the bullish momentum returns. So price could then retrace below the $100,000 mark to another of the psychological evens. Some are predicting $50,000 bottom in 26-27. Remember, Bitcoin is known to retrace up to 70% from its all-time high. So $50,000 Bitcoin would not be too difficult to imagine. So keep that in mind. If you want to know the time to take the profits, then that time is coming up soon. The all-time high is upon us, and that will be in the next 30 to 60 days. So the countdown is upon us now, and we are going to watch with eager anticipation. So let me know what your thoughts are regarding this 4-year cycle. Is it still relevant? And can we rely on it like it has been like clockwork in previous cycles, the 4-year halving cycle? Or are the institutional buyers extending the bull market cycle? And this is a right translated, delayed retrace. Is there more upside into next year? We shall have to wait and see. All we do know is that another important factor besides the 4-year timeline is liquidity. Of course, is there liquidity in the macroeconomic environment? And liquidity is usually injected when the Fed cuts interest rates. The Fed has not yet cut interest rates as it did in previous bull market cycles, around 2021, for example, 2017. So, therefore, price is looking sluggish compared to previous cycles. However, we know that in coming days, in the next 10 days to 2 weeks, the Fed will cut. And the prediction is 25 basis points. Some are saying maybe even 50 basis points. The macroeconomy is not looking that good. Other countries are already reducing. And so they cut the interest rates in America. That will allow more liquidity into the market. And that liquidity will look for safe haven and investment and will flow ultimately into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into the other large cap altcoins, and then if the history is anything to go by, then into medium cap and small cap altcoins, although there's so many of those in this cycle, we don't really know how many will succeed. Nevertheless, the timing is upon us. So watch in coming days as the 25 or 50 basis points cut is made, and that can trigger Bitcoin. Next low of top, all-time high, to the moon. So get those Lambos ready and get your moon boots on, because the time is coming. So until then, we shall meditate on the charts and find out through our intuition from the super soul within where to take profit to capitalize on this market. This is Bitcoin Babaji. Until next time, signing out.